Mistress Gray.
And I'm Sith Scott.
We're married, and we like to talk about stuff, usually geeky stuff. But if you want us to talk about something specific, you can hit up a Patreon.
As long as it's not Boku no Pico, we won't do that no matter how much you pay us.
You and your Boku no Pico.
No. That's what I was literally talking about. No. Not mine.
Alright, we're here to explore recommendations and wreckages. And wherever our whims may take us. Alright, here's our non-spoiler review of Thumbelina Meets Tom Thumb. Watch it if you like bad movies, particularly animated bad movies. Like, get some friends, get them on Zoom, maybe get some alcohol, and then watch it on Tubi or Amazon Prime for free. Like, don't pay money for this. Pirate if you have to. Like, do not pay money for this.
Or chocolate milk if you don't have alcohol.
Chocolate milk is definitely approved. We don't drink alcohol. So, chocolate milk it up. Now you may be wondering why we watched this. We watched it because I thought it was the adventures of Tom Thumb and Thumbelina, which I watched as a kid and I was curious to see how it held up. This was definitely not that, which is kind of ironic since it was made by Golden Films. You know, the company that made knockoff animated films designed to trick parents and grandparents into buying their movies thinking they were Disney films. Now, The Adventures of Tom Thumb and Thumbelina came out in 2002. Tom Thumb Meets Thumbelina came out in 1996. Clearly, Golden Films preemptively tricked me. They knew this was coming. They planned this. This was a plan, right, Scott?
I'm sure it was. Except for somehow they planned it beforehand.
You're supposed to agree with me. I'm your wife. You agree with everything I say.
Why?
I'm your wife! I'm the greatest good you're ever gonna get!
That's pretty Seuss right now.
I am not acting Seuss!
I don't know. Acting pretty Seuss.
We're moving on! We start this movie with this song.
Hi dum diddle dee, hi dum diddle dum, hi dum diddle dee, hi dum diddle dum, hi dum diddle dee, hi dum, hi diddly diddly dee. As the first bright glimmers of sunshine bravely peek from the horizon, there's an orchestration of creatures that I always find surprising.
I swear, it's worse than A Small World after all, and it lasts for like 6 minutes.
So who exactly writes the newspaper in this world? Is it the ducks or the goose?
It's clearly the foxes who write the newspaper in this world.
Clearly.
After that grating intro, we get the narrator explaining this.
A long, long time ago, there was a meadow. Now, this great meadow and the flower fairies and creatures living in it were ruled over by the tiny little princess Thumbelina. There was supposed to be a meadow prince, too, but he had been kidnapped as a tiny baby, and his fate remained a mystery.
Okay, after that opening narration, we see that Thumbelina is struggling heavily with ruling these animals and fairies, despite the opening song painting it as a perfect utopia. Thanks, song. You really helped set the mood. But, like, of course, the woman clearly needs a man to rule. And that's not me just putting that onto the mood. That is basically what they're saying, right, Scott?
Yep.
Which is weird. Why not just let her appoint someone? Like, maybe one of the birds. There's gotta be someone competent here. Right? There is someone competent. Right? Or...
I don't think so.
Where was I? Oh, right. Although much loved by her loyal subjects, Thumbelina had her hands full trying to keep things running smoothly. After all, it was really a two-person job.
Wait, what? Did the narrator just get to narrate and lose his place? Like, I know this isn't that interesting, but, like, already? Really? Come on! Stay with it, man! After being thoroughly stressed out by the animals and the fairies and all the crap they pull, Thumbelina goes to see Oakley, the magic talking tree who gives her advice and is the narrator, I think. Once there, he shows her the past, including what was narrated to us just like moments ago.
What, you've never seen a magic reflecting tree stump before?
Each of these children is from the very best of royal families. Together they will rule as prince and princess of the great meadow. When they are of age, we hope they may fall in love and marry, bringing happiness to us and them. This is a symbol of your royal birth. Only together will your kingdom be complete.
But then came that terrible, terrible day. Ah! You've got a big job, Princess.
This scene kind of upsets me. Mainly because the Oakley shows that Tom was kidnapped as a kid and not as a baby like they previously established. So did they really seriously just retcon that like 2 minutes into the movie?
Of course they retconned it 2 minutes into the movie. What else are they gonna do? Tell an engaging story? What I'm curious about is what the heck are those royal families the Lady in White was talking about? Who is the Lady in White? Are the fairies? Do they just kind of take babies? Do the families have visiting rights? What if the babies didn't fall in love and get married? Who is the Lady in White? Will I be getting any answers?
Probably not.
Why not?
Have you seen how long this movie has right now?
50 minutes? What?
We've gotten a whole lot more questions than any answers in this movie.
I mean, I guess they did just retcon the baby thing, so I shouldn't expect any answers for my questions. After that thrilling scene, I guess, we cut to this character we'll find out is Tom Thumb, riding around on his little motorcycle. Yes, motorcycle. And no, it's not used in really any creative way. And then Tom ends up talking to the king, and we see he's not really taken seriously. And then we meet our obvious villain, Medwin, the son of the king, who's complaining about wanting to expand the castle.
Oh, forget nature, Father. Bigger is better. This place is outdated. We need to get with the times, install an indoor swimming hole, a 12-carriage garage.
I refuse to use my subjects' taxes on such frivolities.
Then we'll use their muscle. Look what a fine job the slaves in Egypt did on the pyramids. Maybe we can...
I will not enslave my loyal subjects to build a joustorama.
Fine. Greenville will stay in the dark while everybody else moves into the Middle Ages. We might as well just stick our head in the sand.
If you'd... That meadow and the creatures in it are just as important as the peasants, knights, king or king's son. We will not forsake them for a... hog?
International House of Gruel. Oh, very well, Father.
Medwin also wants to build a town called Medwinville because, of course, he does.
I don't know which is worse in this, iHog or Medwinville. And if you were paying attention, you'll realize that Medwin's bird is the one who kidnapped Tom, who we later find out wanted just to eat him. The king saved him, though, from being eaten.
You'd think with how old Tom was when he was kidnapped, he could have just told the king, hey, return me to the fairies in the meadow. But nope. That was apparently never a conversation. Well, after that thrilling scene with Tom and the king and Medwin and the knights and all that jazz, Tom ends up in the kitchen where we get this beautiful scene.
I smell chocolate pudding.
But I was just getting a few crumbs for the little ones. I wasn't doing no harm. Have pity, sir.
Oh, all right. I'll be merciful. I'll eat you in one bite rather than tear you into little pieces.
I swear, I didn't edit this.
Oh yeah, don't forget about the chef.
What is that? Ah, Tom Thumb, what are you doing in there?
Yeah, that's one heck of a voice choice right there.
Okay, back to Medwin, I guess. He's having a meeting with the rogue thief, rogue knight, I don't know, whatever. He's having a meeting with this guy Blackthorn. And they come up with a plan for Blackthorn to kidnap the king and then turn the king over to the Saxons because...
Saxons. They've had it out for him since he beat the pants off them in the War of the Roses.
Dear, 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 just like my father to fight over a bunch of flowers.
Well, like, yeah, there was a King Richard towards the later stages of the War of the Roses, but the Saxons were not involved. I know it's a kids' movie, and fairy tale based, and not a historically accurate film, but then why did they bring up the War of the Roses? They didn't need to. Why, Scott? Why did they?
History?
But it's not history-based!
Don't have to be history-based. So Tom is now riding with the king, who points out a bare-breasted nuthatch.
Good night, everybody!
Okay, yes, fine, it's a real bird, but it actually looks like this. More importantly, Tom meets Princess Thumbelina. The king also gets kidnapped, Tom reports the kidnapping and then wants to fight, but he's told to stay for, reasons. Medwin wastes no time attacking the people and then deciding to build Medwinville. After the animals report to Princess Thumbelina all the destruction that was caused by Medwinville's construction, she then goes to see the king.
Yes, but before she goes to meet the king, she meets a knight with this voice.
Excuse me, sirs? Hello?
Wow, look at you! Hey, Mo, get a load of this!
Did you see that jerk?
Okay. Anyway, she does find Medwin instead. He's, now the king, apparently. He asks what she is, and she says that she's Princess Thumbelina. So, does that mean she's not a fairy? Because he kind of asked her what, not who. Anyways, what species is supposed to be? You think a guy like Medwin would try to manipulate fairies for power and acknowledgement, or, any kind of praise. Anyways, after she leaves, due to Medwin being, Medwin, she and Tom literally kind of run into each other. But they both fight, and then she leaves.
Okay, after all this, we finally get the best scene in the movie. I swear, this makes it almost all worthwhile.
Look at it, Medwinville. From now on, time will be recorded as BM or AM. Before Medwinville and after Medwinville.
Ah, quite a piece of real estate, your landlordliness.
Construction, it starts with destruction. You do demolition with no intermission. It may be a bomber, but not for a plumber, a building technician, or an electrician. I want a castle that's good enough for me. I want to live like the king I'm gonna be. What if all the meadow should be gone without a trace? It's not important, 'cause I've got to have my space. Bring on the shovels, the dozers, and the light. I need construction, I need it day and night. I don't even care if any people think I'm mean. Build me a palace like nobody's ever seen.
I didn't edit any of this. I don't know what's better, the hard cut or the skin color changes, or the fact that they didn't even try to have the voices of the speaking match the singing voices. What's your favorite part, Scott?
Gotta love those lip flaps. And by that I mean, looks even worse than anime quality.
This is not an anime.
Tell them that.
Okay, back to Thumbelina, where this happens.
Flicker, post all the birds as sentries. I'll send the flower fairies out to guard the perimeters. I want plenty of warning before they come. Maybe that'll give us enough time to think of a way to stop them.
Hey, just hold on there. Where do you think you're going?
Wow. What are you? Are those wings on your back?
Oh, we got a real rocket scientist here.
You must be fairies. I've never seen one up close and personal.
All right, that's cool.
Are you always this suspicious of strangers?
So you admit you're a stranger? Enough talking, Druters. Let's take them to Princess Thumbelina. She'll know what to do with them.
Thumbelina. Yeah, you better take us to this Thumbelina.
Again, I didn't edit that. It just goes like that. Okay, So, since Tom's here, he warns them that Medwin is going to go through with his plans much sooner than they expected. He tells them that he knows where Medwin's equipment is. So, some fairies eagerly volunteer for some eco-terrorism. And it's made up of the black fairy who likes to do graffiti, the blonde fairy who does pranks, and the fairy I like to call the drug fairy. Fine, she's a hippie, but we all know she's doing the drugs. And Thumbelina and Tom come too.
Instead of seeing them do, sabotaging like they were talking about, we see them just at a party.
Party I planned. They're paying me peanuts, I tell ya, and they know I prefer walnuts.
I think somebody spiked the nectar.
I knew it! The fairy does drugs! She spiked the drinks! I'm calling it! Yes, we didn't see her do it,
Can I continue?
Fine.
So, Tom and Thumbelina bond with them, saying that it feels like Tom belongs here. I mean, I wonder why. Nothing to do with size or anything.
Or the magic baby thing with the magic necklaces.
Anyways, we cut to a love song.
After you cut me off.
Come take my hand as we try to understand it. How far our love goes, oh, no one could have planned it.
Beyond tomorrow and past the furthest rainbows is only half the distance to where our love goes.
Although the world seems oh so vast around us, it's just enormous that love so great has found us.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, this is... Like, it's not the best song in the world. Like, it's not the worst. But, like, it's just not a very good song. The girl's singing the crap out of it. But, like, she and the guy can't harmonize at all. What do you think of the guy singing?
I mean, he has a deep-ish voice. The only problem is they try to make him sing high with a deep-ish voice. And it doesn't really translate very well.
Yeah. It's like, it feels like a ripoff of all those Disney love songs, or even that one love song from Don Bluth's Thumbelina, all mashed together without any real care. Well, after that love song gone wrong, we get a legendary kiss between Tom Thumb and Thumbelina.
It's not even like one of those like weird looking first kisses kiss.
Their faces are just going past each other.
We then get to move on to see Medwin being upset about all the delays and the planning, and then decides to use honey to catch them instead of vinegar.
You know, like the saying, because he's very clever like that. Okay, back to Tom. He's planning on going back to Castle to stop Medwin. Somehow. Like, they never really explain it. Like, I don't know. They don't explain how he plans on stopping Medwin. He just goes. But then it goes on to Medwin kidnapping a frog as bait and then sending the turtle friend to tell Thumbelina. This is not honey. This is not what the saying about catching more flies with honey instead of vinegar means.
Thumbelina and the fairies then go to save the frog, only to then be surprised it's a trap. Oh no! And then they get caught in the fly paper. I mean, I guess that's honey-like-ish?
They're both sticky. I guess that kind of works. Tom has finally arrived at the castle, and he's sneaking into Medwin's room to try to gather information. I guess that's a plan. Also, the bird frickin' talks!
It was an honor, Master Tom.
I know it's a small thing, but the bird has never talked before now. Like,
Maybe he's just not much of a talker.
Why talk now? Fine, whatever. Back to Tom. He's just in time to watch Medwin put the fairies in the cage.
The weird thing is, Medwin says it's for his bird to eat them, and then he locks the cage. How is the bird supposed to unlock the cage and eat it?
Magic! A wizard did it. I don't care.
Fine, whatever. Medwin then monologues to himself, like everyone does, that the knights can't find the king, and that's because he's right underneath the castle. And then he leaves.
He didn't say castle. He said under the knights' noses. Duh.
The castle.
Fine. He obviously means the castle. Okay. Then Tom goes to save the fairies from the cage.
Thumbelina,
Tom, you're here.
don't worry. I'll get you out. He doesn't have wings. What's he gonna do? Pole vault up here?
Whoa, thanks, Tom. Those bars were totally freaking out my free spirit.
Down here.
Come on, we'll have to climb down.
That was close. We were in real trouble there for a...
I can't decide what my favorite part about this is. Again, there's so much to pick from. The fairies asking how Tom's going to save them as he's doing it. The bird randomly hitting the wall. The fairies just going psh into the wall.
It's just beautiful. Anyways, the mouse then tunnels. They split up looking for the King Richard because they figure he's in the castle because of literally what Medwin just said about him being underneath the noses in the castle. Thumbelina and Tom then follow a glow that leads them to the king. Though you don't really see what the glow is. Anyways, it's kind of weird.
I mean, it might have just been regular light at the end of the tunnel.
Because every light is green.
It was yellow.
Ish. Anyways, that's not how regular light works anyways when you're in tunnels.
Thumbelina and Tom then inform the king. The king then tells them that Medwin has the only key. The king wants them to go get the knights. But since the knights are all gone looking for the king, that's a no-go. Oh, and the Saxons are coming in the morning to get them. So, Thumbelina and Tom plan to fight back with the animals.
What's so important about saving this king person?
Yeah, as far as I know, he's never given me any nuts.
Wow, these animals all kind of suck. Tom and Thumbelina point out how everybody will lose if they don't stop Medwin from building Medwinville in the meadow. And that nature is interconnected, blah-de-blah-de-blah. You've heard this speech before.
Why does it want to call it Meadowville?
Because it has to be named after Medwin. Because Medwin must name everything after Medwin.
But Meadowville sounds better. Next day, we see the fight with Blackthorn, the Saxons, and the animals. The humans kinda lose in the most embarrassing ways possible. Tom and Thumbelina then chase Medwin. Bird attacks Thumbelina and the bird. Tom attacks Medwin by pricking his foot. Medwin then drops the key. Haha! Look, that is the only acceptable way if this picks were as painful as stepping on a Lego, but man, the music was epic for how terrible this fight was.
I mean, the music's been kind of terrible this whole time. They've been pulling random open domain songs that don't fit the mood at all, and then just blasting them. Or kind of fit the mood, but then still blasting them. Or having their own terrible original songs. But back to the story. And more importantly, Medwin threatens Thumbelina and the bird to get Tom to give him the key, rather than just picking up the key he dropped. Because, it's not like Tom's gonna really stop him. He's, tiny. What's he gonna do, prick you again? Kick him, Medwin! You can win this just by kicking! Sorry, whatever. Medwin is then defeated by the fairies and the animals who drop a tapestry on him. Sure, why not? We're almost done. I don't care anymore. They all then free the king and the day is saved. Yay!
King later celebrates their bravery and then knights Tom. This creates an interesting issue as Thumbelina does want Tom to live in the meadow with her, but he feels like he has to stay at the castle now. Well, so much for that, I feel like I have to stay at the meadow part. Anyways, it's like the meadow's close enough for you to visit, to have bird transportation or anything. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, it is. That happens all the time. Anyways, Tom then gives Thumbelina the other half of his necklace, which so happens to then match her necklace, and then this happens.
At last, we have found you.
Me?
Yes, Tom Thumb. You are the lost prince of the meadow.
I am?
Is?
He is?
Of course. It all makes sense now.
Princess Thumbelina, you have served me well. It is time you were made Queen of the Meadow. And with King Richard's permission, Tom Thumb will be your king.
Of course. Of course. I always knew that boy had it in him.
Tom, Thumbelina, together you will rule the meadow side by side. That is, if it's all right with you both.
I guess it's all right.
Far out.
Who the frick are you, lady? Then Medwin ends up being stuck in his mini Medwin bill, which...
Honestly, that's the most fitting thing of this entire series, the show, movie, whatever this is.
Yeah. And then we get this bad joke.
Nevermore, Master Edgar. Nevermore.
And we end with Tom and Thumbelina being married. The two kingdoms become one. The end. No, song, you can't come back. I'm stopping it here. I'm stopping it here. Hey, final thoughts, Scott. What did you think?
This was kind of if a roller coaster and a crash dummy training course came together and decided, hey, let's just make it a giant wreck of something.
Honestly, this was kind of beautiful to watch. Like, I was not expecting this. Like, I know it's not the worst animated movie. There's nothing offensive in it other than Thumbelina apparently needing a man to rule when she could have just appointed someone. Like, unless everybody's that incompetent.
Me and the birds are pretty competent.
Yeah, bird rights. Birds for leadership. Well, I mean, they do better than any government we've ever had.
They do better than whatever government the fairies are trying to do. I don't think Tom was going to be too much of a asset to that kingdom.
I mean, he's competent at least.
He knows how to use a fork.
And stab people with his tiny little knife. And ride a motorcycle. That's competent.
Is that really good leadership skills?
He saves people.
No.
Yeah, this movie was just a wreck, but it was a blast to watch. Like, seriously, get some friends on Zoom and watch this sucker. Like, if you enjoy bad movies, this isn't peak, but it sure is fun.
You'll constantly be asking yourself, what is going on?
Oh yeah, one nitpick I do have, though, is that this has nothing to do with the fairy tales Thumbelina and Tom Thumb. It only relates to them in the fact that they are both small, and they have the names of the fairy tale. I'm sorry, but as a fairy tale lover, no! Why do you do this? Like, Thumbelina isn't even grown from a seed and a flower, and Tom Thumb doesn't have a bunch of jerk siblings who he has to go rescue after, even though they made fun of how small he was.
Wait, what if Thumbelina's the jerk sibling?
Nope, they're married. Don't bring that up. They are not siblings. We are not doing incest. Like, share, subscribe, hit up our Patreon, because we're shills, and we need money to live.
Don't forget the bell.
Ring that bell, I guess, because bells are nice, and if you like our videos, you hopefully want to see more of them. And with that, I'll leave you with this.
Why, I oughta... To the moon, fairies! To the moon!